We've been reporting on this SOB detective for months. Let's put his picture up. Now he's indicted. We're talking about Roger Golubski. This is evil personified. For decades, this man utilized his authority as a police officer, a detective, a supervisor, to do what? To brutalize black women, to sexually prey on black women, to even indicate that he was going to prey on a black woman's daughter, and gave young black men cases in jail when their mother would not have a sexual relation with him. Dirty as hell. Roger Golubski was arrested at his home, finally, in Edwardsville, after federal grand jury indicted him on 6 counts of civil rights violations. He was expected to make his first court appearance Thursday afternoon. So he's a retired cop now. Golubski retired in 2010 after working for the Kansas City Police Department for how many years? 35. 35 years. And they knew he was corrupt. They did nothing. The FBI has been investigating allegations that Golubski, who was white, sexually assaulted black women in the city and exchanged drugs for information during criminal investigations, something he did routinely. The federal indictment announced Thursday accuses Golubski of sexually assaulting 2 women on several occasions between 1998 and 2002. The indictment does not state the race of the women. He is accused of raping both women and forcing them to perform oral sex on him several times in his vehicle and at the woman's home. Golubski's conduct included aggravated assault, abuse, and kidnapping, according to the indictment. If convicted of any of the counts, Golubski could be sentenced to life in prison. He was there in one department for 35 years. They knew he was a corrupt cop. He had many allegations against him. They did not sideline this cop. They gave him promotions. He continued to rise in the ranks. So this is some background on his years of abusing black women in that city. In the 1980s, that same cop forced Rose McIntyre to perform oral sex to save her boyfriend from a false arrest. He then arrested her son, Lamont, for double murder after she blocked a second sexual encounter. The son was exonerated, but only after spending 23 years in prison for a crime he never committed and was only there because Golubski, the evil individual in question, wanted him to be there. There's more. Ophelia Williams. Ms. Williams told the Kansas City Star Golubski forced himself on her after officers arrested her twin 14-year-old boys in 1999. A lawyer during a deposition proceeding posed a question to Williams if she ever called the police. Oh, okay. Yeah, had you ever called the police, ma'am? She says no. She responded, he was the police. The detective told Williams that he was close with the district attorney and could help her get her son out of jail or sons out of jail. She said several days earlier, Golubski was with officers when they executed a warrant at her home. He told her she had nice legs and her 12-year-old daughter would be just as pretty when she grows up. Lamont and Rose McIntyre eventually received $12.5 million in a settlement. Not enough money for what happened to them. They got this from the unified government in their county in Kansas City. Kansas at the end of June, it was a far cry from the $100 million they sought. But state law blocks Williams, whose sons were also arrested for double murder, from suing. Why? Attorneys for the McIntyre family claim the lawsuit, the detective preyed on about 70 women. The reason why the sons could not get their settlement directly is because of a ridiculous statute of limitation. The man was in prison, okay? But because of that time that elapsed, he was unable to get his money. Very sad. But finally, there's an indictment. Police agencies all across this country, they have a Golubski. They got a person just like that, been there over 30 years, 35 years. They know about the corruption. He keeps getting promoted. Why? Because of the culture of policing. The culture of policing, if it was more good cops than bad cops, that means that Golubski would not exist beyond maybe a year, 6 months. He was there for 35 years. The culture protected him. It did not hold him accountable. All right, Jackson, thoughts here.
Well, he was just using his position of authority to fulfill his sadistic vices on people. Because at the end of the day, rape is an act of power over somebody, not sex, because you can just purchase sex. You don't have to take it from somebody, especially someone like him who's been a police officer within the city limits for decades. He knows where to get it if it's really about that. But this guy was just going unchecked and doing what he was doing because he could and because he liked it. Like it wasn't something like he was like, oh, I just happened to stumble in. No, he liked it and he used his badge to get away with it. And he had to have thought that he did get away with it because 12 years passed after his retirement. So he almost did.
And let's keep it 100, man. Media started picking up on this and continued to expose what was happening, and more witnesses came forward. If it had not been for media, Golubski would have gotten away with it.